Hello and welcome to this third in a series of videos talking about twin and CPC conductors. In this video we're going to particularly focus in on one or two special variants of twin and CPC conductors that we use in different applications in domestic settings. So the first of the variants that we're going to be looking at in this video is what we've got here, which we refer to as twin brown cable. So the reason that we call it twin brown is immediately obvious when you look at it. When you look at the conductors there, you can see that we no longer have a blue neutral conductor, but what we do have are two brown conductors. We've got two line conductors. Now we may need this because in a lighting circuit, which is what we typically use 1mm cable for, we may have a situation where we've brought a permanent line and neutral to a light fitting. We would then run this cable from that light fitting down to a switch. We pick up the permanent line connection on one of these conductors at the light fitting. It carries the permanent line down to the switch, and then the switch will connect and disconnect the switched line conductor. So the switched line conductor will come back up to the light fitting and connect into the actual lamp itself, and therefore we will have control over when the light fitting is turned on and off. This has been really nicely explained in another video by Gary, so I suggest you check that video out to understand the application of this more fully. So this is twin brown and CPC cable. So the second variant that we're looking at in this video is what we've got here, and this is what we refer to as 3-core and CPC. Now again, you might be looking at this and you might be thinking, but surely we've got 4 cores. Remember, we only count the insulated cores, so we've got 1, 2, 3 insulated cores and a CPC. So that's what we're looking at there. Now you may also be looking at this and thinking, where have these colours come from? Because we've still got a brown conductor, we've got no blue conductor, and now we've got these additional colours which are black and grey. Those of you with a little bit of prior knowledge may recognise that these are the colours for what we refer to as a 3-line system, very often referred to as a 3-phase system. Really, it's a 3-phase supply consisting of 3 lines. But what we've got, the important point here is that we've got these colours. It's very rare that you would use this type of cable for a 3-line supply. Very, very unlikely indeed, because most domestic installations, unless they're extremely large mansion type buildings, won't have 3 phases coming into them. So what we've got here then are the 3 colours, brown, black and grey. The regulations state that because we're going to be connecting this cable up to a single phase supply, that means that all of the colours need to be, all of the line conductors need to be identified as being line conductors on a single phase system, which means that they need to be coloured brown. So what we do is we take our piece of brown sleeving and we pop that over our black conductor, and we pop another one over our grey conductor. It doesn't necessarily have to cover the whole length of the conductor, it's just to indicate that this is a single phase line conductor. Now again, the area that you would use this for again is for lighting, and in a lighting circuit you might have 2-way or intermediate switching, and for those types of installation 3-core comes in very, very handy. It's far too complicated to explain on this video how it connects up, but again Gary's demonstrated an excellent video of how 2-way and intermediate switching works and how we can use a 3-core and CPC cable to allow for that. So this would be used typically for the cable between switches on a 2-way or intermediate switching circuit, and this is what we call 3-core and CPC. So the third option that we're going to be looking at in this video is what we've got here. Now this is a low smoke cable. Now when you look at this cable, you may look at that and think, well, I can't see any physical difference between this and the other cables that we looked at, and that's right, there's no real visible difference. One small difference is we've got a white outer sheath there, but that's the only visible physical difference between these cables. The reason that we might want to install a low smoke cable is that if you've got a PVC cable installed in, say, a domestic installation, if a fire breaks out, that fire could potentially be quite life-threatening. But actually more deaths are caused by the fumes given off during a fire than by people actually being burnt by the fire. So when the PVC insulation and sheath on a conductor get burnt when they get hot, they start to give off really dense black choking clouds of smoke, and that is a real danger, both in terms of evacuating the building safely and also in terms of if you breathe that in, it's very, very dangerous and can kill you. So a low smoke option is an excellent option for reducing that risk. When this burns, it will give off some smoke, it will give off some fumes, but it won't be the dense, acrid black smoke that's given off by PVC, and it's also much less hazardous to people when they're trying to flee a building. So this is an option. Personally, I think this is something that will become more and more common in domestic dwellings. It's already being specified by some councils and some building designers who insist on this being installed. So we'll see how that pans out over the next few years. So that's some information covering the variants of twin and CPC. We saw the different types of cable there. How's this going to fit in with our learner experience here, Gary? How are they going to apply these different types of cable here at the college?
It's going to be in that first 8 weeks in the workshop period after health and safety has been cleared that we're on those lighting circuits. We'll be using twin brown drops to switches, and we're interconnecting two-way and intermediate switches using the 3-core and CPC that you discussed in your video as well. Excellent. Don't touch on the white PVC stuff, which in some ways is really good because it's very difficult to work with and make it look really neat, and when you've got no skills working with PVC cables, to go to low smoke zero halogen one straight off is a little bit difficult. Yeah,
so that'll be much further down the line, maybe that'll get looked at and covered, yeah, once those basic skills have been developed and mastered, yeah?
We would like to put one circuit in with that at some point.
Yeah, excellent, that's great. And of course, Gary's already made an excellent video featuring this type of cable on two-way and intermediate light switching, so we suggest you check that out as well for some further information and see this actually being used. So I think that's all that's left to be said is...
We hope this video has been some help.